the Dawn with your hosts, Jimmy Thompson and Donato Bucci. They're covering the most current issues in sports from the 305 to the 412 and all the way to the West Coast. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at JT and the Dawn or email them at jtandthedon@gmail.com. Now take it away, guys.
Give them a shot to do what?
Welcome to the next episode of JT and the Dawn, presented by Give Us a Shot Network. I am the Dawn, Donato Bucci, and remember to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember to leave us a 5-star review, as well as subscribe to the Give Us a Shot Network YouTube channel. Thank you very much to Nicole Thompson for the awesome introduction, and to our guy Mike Regina for the JT and Dawn intro pump up music. It is the start of the MLB playoffs, and we'll get into that later, a little bit later in the show. But let me welcome in everyone's favorite JT, Jimmy Thompson. How you feeling today?
I'm all right. I mean, the Rays already lost today, so my house is kind of in a bad mood. So I got to see how the Marlins do here. Their game just started, but I know you're happy. Look, both of our teams look bad this week in the NFL. So
why are we happy?
Yeah, I think you're happy because you guys might be closer to getting rid of Matt Canada, and the Dolphins lost. So I think that's you. It's a win-win for you.
Anytime JT's miserable, I'm happy.
That's the way life goes. See, I don't get this. Y'all kind of said y'all want me to be. Y'all want me to be so miserable, so bad. I never said I was miserable. Hey, we lost to a really good team. I mean, Josh Allen is the best quarterback of all time. That's what you guys have been telling me. So I expect them to beat us at home. Like
no one. Listen, no one ever said that. And if we are going to get on you,
nobody ever said that. Don't make me pull up the tape.
The best, the best quarterback ever.
No, y'all say he's the best quarterback of all time. He's the MVP.
No one ever said that. Not on this show. That's Jimmy Drama coming out. That's Jimmy Drama creating drama. And I'll tell you what, I'm a little disappointed.
That's you want your Mason Rudolph is a Hall of Famer stuff.
Listen, I'm a little disappointed at you because, okay, you come on this show with the Marlins hat because they're in the playoffs. They play tonight. But that's how I know you're not a true fan. How can you be having us do this show when the Marlins are on?
Easy, because you always do this. You always do this. The reason we were having the show is because of you. This is the only time that we can fit into your busy schedule, and we almost missed it. We're late on the show.
Tomorrow night.
No, we couldn't. You said, yes, we could. Only do it Tuesday.
I'll tell you what.
I have to plan weeks in advance to do a show with you. And if it's not on the date, the one date that you can do, it doesn't get done.
I'll tell you what. As a Pirate fan, the Pirates and Marlins make the playoffs the same amount of times in a decade as each other. If the Pirates were on right now, game one, I would tell you, JT, is tonight the only night you can do it? All right, great. We're not doing the show this week.
Yeah, I got to watch the Pirates. Here, so,
not the same. All right, hey, fake fan, go ahead. Yes, fake fan, go ahead.
All right, whatever. I actually been to the World Series to watch my team win. Have you?
I haven't been alive when they've been in the World Series.
That's what I thought.
I guarantee
anyway,
you, if they get in, I'm going. If they get in, I'm going. If they get in, I'm going.
Can we talk about week 4?
You didn't buy the tickets. Your parents did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in middle school. Let me just go out and buy playoff tickets with my no job having ass. Oh my God. So NFL week 4, we can talk about it.
Fine, let's go.
All right, so it's in the books. So we're going to do a quick review of week 4. But let's start off with this. Several teams are having disappointing seasons, and we're going to play the what's wrong game. So we're going to give you a team, and we're also going to give you our opinion on what we think is wrong with them. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's start with my Cinderellas from last year, Jacksonville Jaguars. What's wrong with them?
3 things here. 1, all right, especially through the first 3 games, pre-snap penalties, putting them behind the chains. And then I saw this earlier today, JT, preparing for this question, and it was kind of crazy. Listen to this stat. The other problem with them is dropped passes. All right, dropped passes. If I can find, they've lost. Listen to this. The Jaguars offense has lost 15 expected points because of drops so far this season. That's the most points lost from drops through 3 weeks since 2019. So that's another problem. When you're missing out on 15 expected points, especially against the Kansas City type team, that's going to hurt you. So you got pre-snap penalties, drops, and then I think their defensive line. That was the issue last year. They didn't really do anything.
In London, the defensive line looked ridiculous.
Well, but they won that game, right? But I'm saying so far, excluding that game, 3 out of the 4 games, their defensive line has been an issue. It was an issue last year, and they didn't resolve it. So I think those 3 things, not staying ahead of the chains, then you have drop passes, which would have led to 15 expected points, and then the D-line outside of the game in London, that's not a good recipe for a team that can't overcome those things, because it's not like they're loaded with talent yet, and they're still young.
Yeah, I agree with you. I will say this. The issue is not Trevor Lawrence, because everything that you said about the receivers and drop passes, I agree with. And I think that's the main issue of why they're struggling is, look, if you keep dropping passes, you can't score points, which means you can't win games. And you definitely can't be dropping passes against Patrick Mahomes, some of these high-powered matchups they had early on. So I agree that's the issue. And it's not Trevor, because if you look at all like the major metrics that, all the analysts and like fantasy guys look at, Trevor Lawrence is up there. We're talking about like big-time throw rate, yards per attempt, like all his numbers saying that if these receivers are holding on to the ball, he might be in the MVP race. So I think once the receivers get their act together, I think that's when you're going to see the Jags start to look like the Jags that we saw last year. But I'm not gonna blame anybody else but Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones,
wow,
and your boy Christian Kirk. They got to catch passes, man. They all getting paid a lot of money, man, and they too talented to be doing that. All right, next team. Oh, I know you're gonna love this. Yes. What is wrong with the Bengals?
Well, I think the low-hanging fruit, as you like to say, is the Burrow
cap. I never say that. Why you
always
say that? I'll never say that shit.
You always say that.
That is your saying. I don't say that.
No, you always say that. The low-hanging fruit is Burrow's calf injury, right? He's not the same. He's not as mobile. But what a result of that is, or I should say a byproduct of him not being able to do as well, is the offensive line, right? Like they brought in new guys. They thought they had a good O-line going in, but when you look at the stats through 4 weeks, the first week against the Browns, granted a good defense, 2 sacks, 10 QB hits.
Hey, that's better than that playoff game against
Tennessee game.
Like 10 times.
Listen, anything's an improvement over that game. But then you look at the Ravens in week 2, 1 sack, 5 QB hits. But then you look at the last 2 sacks, 6 QB hits, 3 sacks, 9 QB hits this past Sunday against the Titans. JT, not only is he operating on one leg, but now the O-line is not keeping him upright and clean in the pocket. And T. Higgins goes down. Well, T. Higgins wasn't playing great to begin with, in my opinion. But again, we've always talked about it with the Bengals. Got to have that O-line, and it's coming back to haunt them here early on.
And the thing with the Bengals is I can only blame the O-line so much because we see them go to the Super Bowl with a bad O-line. So they just need elite average offensive line to win a championship.
But
it's bad.
But couple that, right, it is bad. You're right. I see what you're saying. But then couple that with the injury, them being average might not even be good enough.
All right, man. Look, injuries happen. I get it. I'm not even blaming Burrow for this. I'm not going to blame the players. It's two reasons what's wrong with the Bengals. It's the same. The first one is the same thing that's always been wrong with them. It's the front office. Front office, first of all, you just paid Joe Burrow what I could win in the lottery right now in the money ball jackpot, right? You paid him.
Did you play the Mega Millions for tonight?
Hey, don't worry about all that.
You
paid him $250 million, right? The man is hurt. Why are you not protecting your investment? They should have rested him. And you should have rested him. Your players are telling you, look, if you could keep him out until week 5 until he's healthy, we'll be fine. And then what did they do? The owner came down on his little cart, drove around in a circle on the practice field. I know he told him in that conversation, he's like, get your ass out there and play and earn this money. And Joe was like, all right, I got to strap it up. So the fact that he is playing while he is clearly not right, that is on the front office. And this is the Bengals front office. We talked about this, I think it was 2 years ago when Carson Palmer came out and said, hey, Burrow, beware of this front office. Like, they don't do things the right way when it comes to what's in the best interest of the players. And this is clearly what's going on. And then the other thing is, look, you said this either last year or the year before, and you kind of went away from it. I think they went to the Super Bowl, and you kind of backed off this a little bit. But I'm digging up old shit.
I didn't back off.
Zach Taylor. Terrible coach. And I think this year with the hobbled Burrow is showing you just how bad he is. Like, we thought his coaching was questionable before, but I think it's downright bad right now. Like, his players and talent have overcome his coaching deficiencies in the past, and they can't do it this year. Like, look at something simple. So the average depth of target for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase since they've been in the league on this team, it has declined every year. So for reference, Joe Burrow's average depth of target that he's throwing has gone from 8.9 his first year. It's 7.1 now. And I know people are going to be like, oh, he's hurt. It was 7 last year, so it's still going down. Chase, average depth of target, first year, 12.9. It's down to 8.5. So what this means is Zach Taylor's offense isn't producing explosive plays. Like, that's the play calling. You look at other things, like they don't use Joe Mixon. They got a bad O-line. They don't scheme around their bad O-line deficiencies. Like, I don't think Zach Taylor's a good coach, and I think the Bengals need to get rid of him before they lose their investment in Joe Burrow. But that's what I think is wrong.
Well,
front office is Zach Taylor.
I mean, that was a really long-winded answer. Good job. But what I would say is, to your point about the distance, the average depth of the pass game is, I think they're trying to hide the offensive line and have Burrow get it out quicker, which you saw that's what happened with Ben Roethlisberger when they went from Bruce Arians to Todd Haley.
You mean those Bruce Arians years where he was getting murdered?
Yeah, I think that's what Cincinnati was trying to avoid by going to the short game. So I don't blame him as much. I get it.
That. But I feel like, look, you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Like, your average depth of target can't fall off that much because it can't fall off that much. That is more than regressing toward the mean. That means like y'all not doing anything. Like, everybody's checked down. Like, that's basically what it means. All right, next one.
Check down Joey.
Great. No, go ahead.
Check down Joey.
I don't want. Hey, he's not good for fantasy.
Hey,
all right,
I don't got him. It's okay. Check it down all you want.
Patriots. What's wrong with them?
Where do you start? I think it's simply the talent and personnel, JT. Belichick, probably the greatest football coach of all time, maybe in any sport of all time, because it's so difficult to win in football and how often he's won and for how long he's won. But I think him being the GM, and that's part of the problem, is he's kind of the player personnel guy too. The talent and personnel are not there. And you go back to some of his coaching decisions, and I know you've harped on it. You can't have the special teams and the defensive coordinator from 5 years ago.
Last year when I said that this was an issue and everybody was like, oh, JT's overreacting.
You can't have
proceed to have one of the worst offenses you ever seen last year.
You can't have
non-offensive guys calling the plays.
Can I finish? You can't have Joe Judge and Matt Patricia running the offense at the same time and then have no offensive coaches in there. But it also comes down to the talent, but it's also the talent and personnel, because now they do have Bill O'Brien in there. And I think we both agree, he may not be the best head coach in the NFL, Bill O'Brien, but he's a really good offensive coordinator.
I'd rather have Bill O'Brien than Matt Nagy. So that lets you know where he stands on the scale of
production. Right. So not even Bill O'Brien is able to get any production out of this offense. And it's not just on Mac Jones. It's the offensive talent in general. I think that's truly what's wrong with them, because if they had explosive wide receivers, if they had more of an explosive running back, if they had those tight ends from back in the day, I think Bill O'Brien would be fine. But I've got to go talent and personnel, but that falls on Bill Belichick, not the coach, but the player personnel guy.
I agree with you on the talent level. I mean, let's be honest. They got Juju Smith-Schuster out there getting like hella snaps. So that lets you know the talent on the team. And they're like, he's not even the best guy we got. I was like, well, who else is on the team? But and they signed Zeke. So that lets you know where they are. And I don't think their offense is innovative at all. Is it a little bit better with Bill O'Brien? The numbers don't say it is, but I'm pretty sure if they had more talent, it would look better than the offense did last year. But let's keep it a buck, man. What's wrong with him is Mac Jones ain't a franchise quarterback. And you saw it last year with the whole Bailey Zappi situation. It's like, is he better than Mac or not? And then Mac got this whole drama. do they like him in New England? And I think you're starting to see he's not the guy. And I think those issues compound with not having a really good quarterback. That's what's wrong with the Patriots. Because their defense is still good. Your guy who you picked as defensive rookie of the year, Christian Gonzalez, he's been balling this year. Like Judon been balling this year. The defense has looked good. It's just the quarterback can't do nothing.
But let me ask you this. If Kirk Cousins or Jordan Love was on this team, would it be any better?
I think they could win. It wouldn't be. I think it would be. The degree of difficulty would still be hard, but I think there would not be.
But there would not be a drastic improvement.
I think
is my point. No, there would not drastic. Not drastic improvement. Nah.
All right. So as we've done in weeks past, we're gonna give you a player, a performance, or storyline from this past week that you are not overreacting to.
I'm not going to overreact to your Dolphins getting beat bad by the Buffalo Bills because two things. I still think Miami's a really good team. I still believe in Tua. So I think they'll be fine. But two, they lost to the Buffalo Bills, who at this point after this win and some of the other teams losing like Cleveland and Kansas City not looking great against the Jets, Buffalo might be the best team in the AFC along with the Dolphins. So that's why I'm not overreacting. I don't know if anyone is, but I can see where some Dolphin fans are starting to overreact to, oh my goodness, like we're in trouble. So maybe that's more of the not panicking.
It's a game against one of the best teams in the NFL. It's a divisional rival, and it's on the road. I will say this. I talked about this with Germ. I think the Bills got lucky this year with us because they played the Dolphins at home with no snow, and now they get to come play us in South Beach when it's not hot. So advantage to the Bills. They should win those two games, but that was the low-hanging fruit, as you say, that not to overreact.
The low-hanger. That was not
low-hanging fruit. Don't react to the Dolphins' loss to the Bills. I didn't want to pick that one because I figured you would. I'm going to go with something that I'm not falling for. It's the Chargers winning 2 in a row. I ain't overreacting.
But the Dawn of Sports told you this would happen.
I ain't overreacting.
I don't understand. Are you not overreacting to my genius prediction? Is that what you're not overreacting to? That's
anyway,
fine.
I ain't overreacting. I ain't overreacting to the Chargers beating the Raiders at home when they did their best Chargers impersonation right on time. They let a rookie quarterback who hasn't dressed all year drive down the field in crunch time, throw a pick on the goal line, and here's the thing. The Raiders almost got it back to come down and try to win again. So I'm not buying it. Two wins in a row. Brandon Staley should be fired. The Chargers are still bad. They're a dumpster fire. They need help. All right, flip the script.
Just admit I was right.
Anyway, give us one player, performance, or storyline that you are panicking on. It's time to worry about it.
Man, it's my Steelers. My Steelers. That win against Cleveland, great. Even though the offense
Looking back, you're like, how did that happen?
It had exactly. That's what you look back on now. And then the Raiders, you're like, all right, well, a win's a win, even though it was ugly and we almost blew it. A win's a win. But then when you lose 30-6 to a rookie in his 4th start ever against a defense that's supposed to be really good, especially after getting after the quarterback, but then they come back with 6 points, JT, pretty much tells me there's no hope with his offense. Even if Deontay Johnson comes back, even if Jerome Bettis came out of retirement,
it don't matter.
It don't matter.
It's so bad. I feel bad that I can't show this graphic, but basically I sent it to our group chat. I want to say last week, and it was ranking all the teams in the NFL based on passing and rushing efficiency. And it's like every other team in the NFL is like in the middle or the top right-hand corner, and there's one lonely team at the bottom way by themselves in the worst tier possible, and it's you guys. It's like it's epically bad. Like you guys might have the worst offensive efficiency I've ever seen, and then the Broncos might have the worst DVOA on defense I've ever seen. So we've seen some epic things this year. I wanted to say that I want to panic on the Steelers, but I've been panicking on them because I don't think Canada is good. He should have been brought back. Right. I'll tell you who I am panicking on, and it's a team that I picked to be the next Jacksonville Jaguars, the Atlanta Falcons, man. And I feel bad for them because their defense actually looks good. Like they got a defense that can win them games, but now they still don't have a quarterback. Like Desmond Ridder is bad. Like to anybody who woke up that early to watch them play in London, he is bad. Like he should have been benched. I don't want to say this. He should have been benched for Taylor Heineke. You know how we feel about Taylor Heineke.
You said it.
You know how we feel about Taylor Heineke.
Hey,
I was praying that they put Taylor Heineke in the game. Desmond Ridder is not it. Shout out to Kendall. I know that's your boy. You guys are both Bearcats, but look, Ridder, insurance salesman. He ain't it. So I'm panicking on the Falcons until they get a quarterback. They can just play like average level play. Like, give me Baker Mayfield from the Rams last year, and that team could win the division. But they're gonna stick with Ridder, so I don't get it. So let's go to the checkdown game. So what we'll do is we'll read a question, then provide multiple answers to it, and we'll pick the one that we think is the best. So you ready for this?
Let's go.
All right, let's go. All right, first one. Oh, these are always fun. Who do you feel sorrier for? Zach Wilson getting screwed by the refs on Sunday Night Football, or Justin Fields getting screwed by his coaches against the Broncos?
Neither. I don't feel sorry for either
one. We don't play
one.
that. Bro, you got to pick one.
No, it's neither. So why is that? Zach Wilson got screwed by the refs in what way? That was defensive holding.
Taylor Swift had the refs out there calling all these phantom calls.
What was the phantom call? MVS got held. He got held on that route. I don't know why.
So the answer is Justin Fields?
We should feel bad for the Jets fans who were bragging all offseason that they're going to the Super Bowl. They got the greatest defense ever, better than the 85 Bears. They got Aaron Rodgers. We got to feel bad for them that they got screwed on one call, and they didn't even get screwed. He got held. MVS got held. By the book, that was a defensive hold call. And then you go to Justin Fields getting screwed by his coaches. How about you make some more plays? Like, you show the ability that you can make plays. Why is it always that you're defending Justin Fields by going to the coaches, whether it's Matt Nagy or this coaching staff? Why is it always that and not Justin Fields yet?
What are you talking about? Did you watch the game? Did you watch this game? Did you watch this game, or you were too busy watching the Steelers get their ass kicked? Because anybody that watched this game should see that, and my answer is Justin Fields, obviously.
Can I finish?
They should have seen that Justin Fields proved that he is a really good starting quarterback in this league. Because guess what? They had a 3-score lead most of that game, and guess what? He did it with his arm. He wasn't out there running around like he did last year, making all these plays on the ground. He did it with his arm. This man was damn near perfect from the pocket. What more do you want? So first of all, how do you blow a lead like that to the Broncos? And then he made one mistake, and then you take the ball out of his hands to give him a chance to win the game. Like, that is all. He got screwed by his coaches, and I feel bad because if you look at the reports,
that's your guy.
This is why I feel bad. I feel bad. He played his ass off. Anybody that says he did it is lying.
No one questioned that part.
So hold on. He was in the after the game in the locker room. They were like, he stayed in there for like 30 minutes with his jersey on. You know why? Because he knows his career as a starting quarterback is over, because his coaching staff has ruined him and his reputation because Matt Eberflus don't know what the hell he's doing. You first
said Matt Nagy ruined him. Now you're saying
Matt Nagy ruined Mitch Trubisky too. So let's not act like the Bears don't. The Bears have a track record of ruining all their quarterbacks. So now
you're saying it's this coaching staff. God. No blame is ever on Fields. Let me tell you this.
I didn't say there's no blame on Fields. But he wasn't responsible for that loss. Look, the Bears had one thing on their mind. It was Caleb Williams, and that's what happened. So it is what it is. Next one. More likely. Because I don't want to turn this into a show where we're just arguing about Justin Fields. Because you're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm explaining the answer of why it's neither. But yet you just said last week they're using him wrong. They've got to use his legs.
And they're still using him wrong. And guess what he did? He said, you know what? I'm going to go out there and have a good game.
So they showed that he can do what they need him to do.
Or he's just a really good player that can outplay shitty coaching sometimes. Like why does Matt Eberflus get a pass? They're about to fire his ass if he loses on Thursday Night Football.
So remember this: when Josh Allen has a bad game, and it's because of everybody else. Lack of
real talk. Just get a Josh Allen jersey. I'm so sick of this.
Just get a Justin Fields.
I'm about to get one.
Don't pretend to be a Tua fan.
They're about to be 50% off because Matt Eberflus don't know how to fucking coach.
Good.
More likely,
you get what you pay for.
The NFL has a lack of talent problem at the quarterback position or in the coaching position.
Well, listen, quarterback's the hardest position to me in all of sport. It really is. It doesn't matter what sport. It is the most difficult position in all of sport. And there's a reason why it is difficult to find 32 really good NFL quarterbacks. So I think it's the answer is it's worded bad. It's not a lack of talent problem. It's just a lack of quality starting quarterbacks in the NFL. That's the answer, because it's difficult. That is such a difficult position. There's a reason why guys are career backup guys and never are the main guys starting. It's difficult, JT. That's why teams will tank, like Arizona, the Jets. They'll go Darnold. They'll go Darnold to Zach Wilson. They'll go Josh Rosen to Kyler Murray in a span of 1 or 2 years. It's difficult to find that quality starting NFL quarterback.
I disagree. I mean, I know
course.
It's hard to.
You want
I
to
know
blame
it's hard
the coaches
to play
for everything. You want to blame them for everything.
Quarterback, but
yes,
let's be real. We've been saying this under our breath for years, and the shit's right in our face. It's the coaches. There are too many bad to mediocre coaches and coordinators that are failing these players. Like, just look at this list: Eberflus, Brandon Staley, who we agree should definitely not have a job; Matt Canada, who should be fired; Matt Nagy, who is making the Chiefs look like they're not the Chiefs anymore. Nathaniel Hackett, all-time hack job last year, no pun intended. Zach Taylor, who we talked about. Josh McDaniels, who also should be fired. Like, none of those guys should have a job right now. Like, there's more guys that we can go through a list of coordinators or coaches who are just not good. And not only are they not good, they've shown us they're not good already, and they're on their second or third stint in the NFL because, hey, that's the NFL. So I think the fact that these bad coaches are still employed and getting recycling, that is the bigger issue. There's a lack of coaching talent in the NFL. Like, we love the McVays. We love the Shanahans. We love Belichick. We love Andy Reid. But there's a lot of trash-ass coaches and coordinators in this league.
But that's not the question. The question is lack of talent. My thing is,
I said lack of talent at the QB or lack of talent at the coaching position. That's the way I read it.
But the way what you're saying is there's poor coaching, which that happens.
That's lack of talent at the coaching position. If you can't coach, you're not talented.
No. Don't say lack of talent, because for everyone for every Nagy that you want to say, for every Eberflus, there's a Mike McDaniel somewhere on someone's staff. There's no Caleb Williams sitting on the bench in the NFL that someone can start. That's why there's a lack of NFL quarterbacks quality starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Don't say there's a lack of coaching talent. You might say there's
no coaching talent.
You're missing it. There might be poor or bad coaching, but it's not
lack of talent.
JT, no, it's not. It's poor
Yes,
coaching.
it is.
I just told you there is a Mike McDaniel somewhere on an NFL staff right now. Get out of here.
No, there is not.
You didn't even know Mike McDaniel existed until a year ago.
We won't do this now.
Next question.
When we're done, you go look at all the NFL rosters and all the coaching rosters. Like, all right, give me the next Mike McDaniels. At least see how that works out.
We didn't know Mike McDaniel existed 3 years ago. Okay,
you rare.
Go back. He's been on a staff since 2012. That's my point.
That proves my point. You know why guys like Mike McDaniel have to wait a long time? It's because the NFL keeps hiring these badass dumb coaches.
Because a lack of talent. He's there.
Mike McCarthy even sat out for a whole year. He's like, look, I was so untalented, I had to go in the basement and watch the NFL to learn how to recoach. It's bad. Come on, man.
You don't understand the question. You don't understand the difference between talent and poor coaching. There's a difference between talent of coaches and poor coaching. Go.
Talent. Quarterback or coach. The coaches are worse. I'm sorry.
It's not talent. It's poor coaching.
Kirk Cousins gets traded or Desmond Ridder gets benched. I'm really interested to see what your answer is on this.
This is a tough one. It's a good one. I have this feeling, though, the Vikings are going to keep Kirk Cousins. Like, they're going to go down with the ship, and I think that's a mistake. So I think Ridder gets benched because of our guy, even though he's not our guy. Taylor Heineke, he's lurking in the weeds, man. He's gonna find a way on the field.
Oh, I was so close to saying Kirk Cousins gets traded, but I feel like to move somebody like Kirk Cousins, especially this season, more than any other season, it's such a big domino that I don't think it's as easy to move him as people think it is. Like, the easy answer would be the Jets. Like, oh, let's trade him to the Jets. But if you trade him to the Jets, the Aaron Rodgers saga is basically over. Like, you got to move on from Rodgers. Rodgers saying he's going to come back in the playoffs. He's playing next year. He's got the Aaron Rodgers team in New York already. So I just don't see many places where he could go and get a new deal before the offseason. So I think they're stuck with him. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to decide on are we going to extend Kirk or are we going to franchise tag Justin Jefferson? I think that's what the Vikings are going to do. I don't think it's about winning the games. I think they're trying to find a way to keep them both and which one's going to get the long-term deal. I think it's Ridder, man. Like, he needs to get benched because the Falcons believe they can win now and there are a quarterback away team. Like, and plus, I don't know if you watched the game, but the players are already starting to give Desmond Ridder that Russell Wilson treatment that the Broncos players gave him last year. You saw on the sideline, he tried to, dap up and, hype up Matt Collins, the receiver. Matt Collins was like, get out of my face with that shit. Hey, you're sorry. I don't want to talk to you. So they're already starting that. And this is get 4 games in? Yeah. Arthur Smith, I know he likes to wait until he benches his quarterbacks, but Desmond Ridder on the hot seat right now. So I think he gets benched before Kirk Cousins gets traded.
All right, so we at least agree on that one.
No, you said Kirk Cousins gets traded first.
No, I said Ridder. You don't even pay attention.
I don't, because you
said I
so
don't
many wrong
see,
things is just in one ear and out the other.
I said I don't see the Vikings trading him. I think they're gonna. I think he's going down with the
It's too hard. It's too difficult.
Yeah, I think it's Ridder. I told you, Taylor Heineke's lurking in the weeds. He's gonna find a way to get on the field.
Isn't time for Germ to run his mouth.
All
right.
Why don't you listen to me? I don't understand. Maybe we should not do the rest of this show.
More worrisome. Daniel Jones's performance this year or the Dolphins getting destroyed by the Bills?
I think it's Daniel Jones because at this point, 4 games in, you would have hoped he's playing better. And it's tough to say exactly. I don't think it's all on him. I think there's a lack of weapons there, even though he has Dayball. But right now, if we're saying more worrisome, of course it's that, because I just told you earlier, Dolphins, I'm not overreacting that loss. They're fine. They're going to be there till the end. They're going to make the playoffs, and in the playoffs is maybe where it could get worrisome. But right now, got confidence in the Dolphins. So yeah, it's on Daniel Jones.
All right, I agree with you, but I hate to pile on the guy, but for the sake of
you love it.
No, I really do, because I know we talk about these guys, but I mean, I kind of feel bad for Daniel Jones because in a way, he never really asked to be drafted at number 6. Like, nobody ever thought a kid out of Duke would get drafted that high. So it's not like, oh, he was this amazing prospect in college and he just, didn't live up to the hype. Like, he shouldn't have gone that high in the first place. He had no control over that. But yeah, it's the Daniel Jones performance. And I talked about this last year. I talked about it in the offseason. The man got paid $40 million guaranteed, and he threw 15 touchdowns last year. And everybody made a big deal about it. I'm like, am I the only one that's seeing this? Like, Daniel Jones has looked horrible.
Yes,
he looked bad last year.
You're the only one.
He looks horrible this year. And like everybody that clowns guys like Dak, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, or even Russ, because Russ has looked much better this year. They need to be out there dogging Daniel Jones and saying that he can't play quarterback. Like, I see people saying like Lamar and Justin Fields need to consider switching positions. Daniel Jones need to get his ass out there in wide receiver because he cannot play quarterback in the NFL. Like, he has not shown me a stretch during his career where he had or flashed the upside that those guys that I named have flashed. Like, he just has not done that. I've never seen franchise quarterback upside from Daniel Jones. And sorry for the Giants, but they're stuck with his contract even for next year. So definitely more worried about his performance because he is who I thought he was.
Bro, so this segment took a while. It's called the Checkdown game. The way the Checkdown game works, even outside of our show in real life, the Checkdown game, short, quick passes to the running back or tight end in the flat. Like, that's what the Checkdown game means.
Sometimes
it means quick.
Sometimes you just got to go with the O.J. Howard.
I mean, you went on dissertations on all 4 of those Checkdown games.
No, you ain't talking.
Yeah, no one wants to hear you talk that long.
I keep it short. Go on to the next one.
Great. So another college football weekend is in the books, but reports are that Caleb Williams, quarterback of USC and reigning Heisman Trophy winner, has a list of 5 NFL teams that he'll play for. Otherwise, he will return to USC and, quote unquote, make more money. Now, those 5 teams that are supposedly on his list are the Cowboys, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, and 49ers. So, JT, with that said, has the NIL changed the NFL draft?
I want to say yes, like my knee-jerk reaction is yes, but I got to see if this is a Caleb Williams, he can do that kind of thing, or can the top quarterback in every draft class do this kind of thing? I'm more likely to decide that, hey, look, only Caleb Williams can do this because people think he's that special. Like, I don't think Drake May could do this. Like, Drake May, you coming out, you going to the Bears. Like, you can't pull an Eli Manning situation. But I do think the NIL will start adjusting the NFL draft because, like Caleb Williams said, like, he can go back and make more money in NIL than he can on his rookie deal. So if guys are, when they come out, some horrible historically franchises are up to get them, why not go back? Like, if I was Caleb Williams, why would I want to go to the Bears? I can go back, make more money at USC, don't take any classes, throw up 50 touchdowns, and win 11 games with my best friends. Like, I can do that rather than go to Chicago and get my head beat in and have the media say that I'm the next Justin Fields and I'm trash. So I get it. I do think this will happen, though. I think it will force teams to really, really back the players that they're drafting rather than saying, like, oh, like, if you get there and you don't fit into our system, then we're just going to discard you and, blame you for the failures. I think they're really going to have to start looking at, what coaches are they hiring? Like, what system are you putting around this guy? Like, they're going to have to, be more involved and take the players more seriously when they draft them. So I definitely think it's going to change the draft in that respect. But I don't think players are going to be able to just call their shots just because they're the top quarterback in that draft class.
Well, I think it's changed the NFL draft in a way, one, with the top tier guy, right? Like a Caleb Williams. We all know he's going number one. Instead of it being Eli demanding a trade, it's just simply, I'm not going to come out. I'll still make $3 to $5 million in NIL money and then wait until you
make
don't
like 10 million plus next year. He could.
Well, or that, whatever it may be. And then I'll wait until next year when you don't have the first pick overall. And then I can go to the Denver Broncos, for example. So I think it's changed for the number one overall guy. But I also think it's changed for guys that are like third to fourth round picks that would have come out after 3 years saying, I got to go get the money. When, take, for example, a guy playing at Tennessee or a guy playing at Alabama that they're graded a third, fourth round draft pick where the contract is not for 5 years. It's only for 4. Only a certain amount is guaranteed. Why would he do that when he can make $500,000 in NIL money at a college like Alabama, at a university like Tennessee? So I think that's where it's changed the depth of the draft to where now you've got guys that are third, fourth round picks saying, I'm going to be a third, fourth round pick next year, but let me go back, make this extra $500,000 guaranteed, and then I'll go pro and get whatever signing bonus it is. I think that's where it's changed because you're starting to see it. Why did Jared Verse go back to FSU?
Prime example is Blake Corum. Like, we know why he went back. All those Michigan seniors, like, those guys could have been,
I believe he was
third round picks.
I believe he was injured too, though, right?
But I mean, in the past, if there was no NIL, he's going to the draft and he's
Correct.
like, I just want to get an NFL paycheck. But Michigan, Florida State's another team, like, they're investing their NIL money and getting upperclassmen to stay. So it's like, if I'm never going to be a first round pick, like, I might as well just get the NIL money because in some cases it could be more and it's more enjoyable. Exactly. I get to go back to Michigan. Like, I'm the big man on campus. I get to have fun. I get to win because I know when I get to the NFL, if I'm going to the Bears or to the Raiders, I might never win again. So yeah, I think it does change.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So the other question I want to know based on what he said. Now let's look at him specifically. Which team would be, of those 5 on his list, which team would be the best fit for him?
Well, I think the 49ers are unrealistic because, I mean, they already got a franchise quarterback in Purdy. But can
we agree that'd be the best fit? I mean, they've got Kyle Shanahan.
I think it would be Brian Daboll, man. Like, Daniel Jones that bad. Like, you saw the game last night. Brian Daboll was like, man, he just threw the tablet down. He was like, this dude is trash. Like, This guy turned Josh Allen into a guy that couldn't throw for 2,000 yards his last year in college. So that now we're like, he's an MVP candidate every year. Like, he did what every NFL team has tried to do. You take the uber talented project quarterback, you turn him into a superstar. And it's obvious that he can do that because we see how Josh Allen is not as consistent now that Daboll is not there. And he also got Daniel Jones paid. Like, he got us raving about 15 passing touchdowns. So imagine what a guy like Brian Daboll can do with Caleb Williams. So that's where I think is the best fit for him. Just being attached to that guy, he's his coach.
Listen, the best fit even though you don't want to agree, it's the 49ers, right? It would be the 49ers, but that's not realistic. So the best fit for him outside of that is the Vikings. You've got Justin Jefferson. You've already played with Jordan Addison. You've got who's their head coach?
It's Kevin O'Connell. I thought you were going to say T.J. Hawkinson because you forgot his name.
No.
That's a very.
You've got O'Connell. There's a couple more things. You've got O'Connell, and we've said it before. Now Justin Jefferson says, "Now I know why Cooper Kupp gets so open." Right? You've got Caleb Williams throwing to those guys, and this is the other thing. The NFC East is a tough division, JT, and will be for a while. You got young quarterbacks. I think Washington's on the rise. The NFC North. You've got the Bears being the Bears.
It's the shootout division.
You've got Detroit. How long can they keep this up? And then you really got Green Bay, which, they've got Jordan Love, but they're getting, who knows what's going to happen with LaFleur. The running back situation is going to change. I like where the Vikings can go with Caleb Williams, Addison, Jefferson, throw in Hawkinson. They'll get any running back would do fine just there with those sort of weapons. And then on top of that, you're playing indoors. He gets to play indoors. So he really plays.
Who says, I think games should be played all outside, natural air, grass.
Caleb Williams.
Not Caleb Williams. We need to put Caleb Williams in a glass cage. Every other quarterback got to play outside except for Caleb Williams.
That's right.
You're right. Caleb Williams is changing the NFL. Like, he's the first person that does, we got to protect him by making him play indoors all 17.
He's got to play two hard games outdoors, Green Bay and Chicago, because Detroit's a dome too. What can you say?
Man, you ain't nothing, man.
What? What's that mean? I don't even know.
I said what I said.
All right, so let's play the college football version of the checkdown game. So, JT, again, checkdown game, quick, short passes. That means quick, short answers. So here's the question. Bigger frauds. Here are the options for the answers. USC with their close game to Colorado, or Texas having no wins against a good quarterback?
I got to go with Texas, man. I actually like them this year. But just look at who they've played. They've played 10th-year senior JT Daniels. They play Alabama with probably their worst quarterback situation since Nick Saban's been there. And the backup quarterbacks for Wyoming, Baylor, and Kansas. I want to believe Texas is back, but some of this just seems lucky.
Hey, you play who's on your schedule. If they don't have a good quarterback or he's hurt, not your fault.
Or they don't have a quarterback?
It's USC, and I'll tell you why. Because of the Arizona game. They should not have struggled that much against Arizona, right? Or was it Arizona State? No, I think it was Arizona. They struggled heavily against Arizona, and they shouldn't have. So that worries me. And then to let Colorado back in kind of shows me, hey, you may not have that instinct to put your opponent away. And when you play Oregon, Washington State, Washington, Oregon State, you've got to be able to put them away. And what USC is doing these last 2 weeks doesn't convince me. So I think they may be the bigger fraud. All right, this one's personal for us. Bigger fraud, Miami or FSU to start the season undefeated heading into October?
This was tough, man. I think it's closer than I want to admit, but I got to go with Florida State. And ooh. I think why Florida State is bigger frauds is because I think the thing that's broken with them, I don't think it's going to get fixed this year. That defense. Any team on any given week could go in there and upset them because their defense just fundamentally, something's broken with it. I don't know if it's the schemes are just not good enough. I think the players are good enough. They got Jarrett Verse. I thought he was going to be Khalil Mack out there getting 20 sacks. But the defense is just not playing up to what we thought they would be with Miami. Is some of it a little bit fraudulent? Yeah. I mean, as a Canes fan, we never trust what we see. But some of the stuff that is making us successful this year is sustainable. Our offensive line, totally different. Physical. The team in general, just physical. Our offense of coordinator fits our quarterback. So I think those things are sustainable because we've seen them before. With FSU, I was not expecting their defense to be their Achilles heel, and here we are. So I got to go with their start in their close games where they should have lost, Clemson, Boston College, as being more fraudulent.
Well, one, Florida State proved they were really good last year. Two, they still beat Clemson at Clemson. Until Miami can go do
Clemson
that.
Clemson beat Clemson. Let's keep it real.
It doesn't matter. Until Miami can go do that and just hang with Clemson for a half, it's still got to be Miami because we've seen this before. Now, granted, I'm with you. I think there's a difference here, and I hope it's not just optimism, but you do feel like there's a change in the program with Cristobal.
Yeah, I mean, but we're highly skeptical because we've been through this before. You know
right.
what I think.
So with that said, I'm gonna go based on history and said Miami's the bigger fraud just because they need to show me, they need to prove it. Whereas I think Florida State proved it last year. They're undefeated this year. They still beat LSU. They still beat Clemson on the road. I don't know how you can say they're a fraud.
No, you're asking me which start is more fraudulent. You know what FSU reminds me of? I'm not saying it's an apples to apples comparison.
I mean, Miami beat one team. Let's be fair.
But FSU is, if they continue to do this reminds me of that weird year with Malik Rozier when we won like 10 games and then we end up losing at the end. It's like we're winning the same way. It's like we beat a weird Notre Dame team. Like we're just stacking all these wins and it doesn't feel like we've won all these games, but here we are. And it turns out we weren't for real. And I feel like FSU this year is just giving me that vibe. And maybe they'll prove me wrong, but that's what I'm seeing.
I mean, I hope you're right at the end of the day, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I think this team is a little bit more talented than that Miami team. We good? You done?
Well, yeah, I got that's what I'm saying. FSU is not good.
Supposed to be quick answers. All right. So more likely is the question. Caleb Williams is already the Heisman winner, or Oregon is a legit title contender?
I will never praise Oregon and Dan Lanning because unlike him, we are playing for clicks. So fuck him. Wow. It's Caleb Williams. And
one, watch your language. Two, why are you so salty?
I just don't like Dan Lanning. He just seemed like a poser.
Why? Because of what he said. Listen, he's playing Deion's game. He's playing the same thing.
It's going to be played on grass, not in Hollywood. There's a difference.
JT, why do you think he has a camera in the locker room? He scripted that speech knowing people like us would talk about it, knowing ABC would play it, ESPN would play it. Hey, he's playing Deion's game.
Can I answer the question? I know you're a Dan Lanning fan.
Don't be upset. He's playing Deion's game. Deion respects it.
Whatever.
Game respects game. That's what they say.
No, but all seriousness, it's Caleb Williams. And what did we say before the season started on the preview show? He would have to do the impossible to win another Heisman Trophy. Here he is out there doing it again. Like, he's just out there, count him in. 5 total touchdowns, 400 yards of total offense, and he's going to do it just crazy efficiently. So I'm sorry. Like, it's looking more and more like he's going to win the Heisman Trophy as long as he don't get hurt.
You're wrong. It's Oregon as a legit title contender. 2 things. Caleb Williams is going against Michael Penix and is going against Shedeur Sanders. Sanders is still in this thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And then on top of that, have you watched Oregon? Like, they're legit, bro.
This is not Chip Kelly's Oregon.
Yeah,
like, this is like an SEC Oregon where like they're like physical now. I'm like, all right. I was not expecting that, but I mean, it's Dan Lanning. That's what he's trying to build.
So when we're talking about just a legit title contender, we're not saying they're gonna win it. When we just say legit title contender, absolutely. Because even though there's a gauntlet now in the Pac-12, which is crazy to say, I can see them running it. Or even if they lose one game and it's to Oregon State or a Washington, like they may find themselves back in the Pac-12 title game to redeem themselves. So I think it's Oregon as the legit title
is
contender.
The best conference in college football this year. Like, I don't think
for sure.
There's no debate.
I agree. And that's the one thing we can agree on. And the other thing, it's so difficult to repeat as a Heisman winner. So to say already we're 4 games in.
He's the holy one, man. He can do no wrong, man. Like every time I turn on the TV, I feel like the trophy's already at his house.
I don't want to even be on the show after you said that. All right. So more impressive so far, Ole Miss or Notre Dame?
Ooh, I got to stick with my guys, Notre Dame, because we asked a question about Notre Dame previously, and just looking at where they were last year at this time as a team and the turnaround they've made. And let's just keep it real. They were one personnel mistake from beating Ohio State. Like, they outplayed them that game. Like, Notre Dame looks like a playoff team the more and more I watch them. Like, Sam Hartman and Ostick, that running back they have, I mean, that's as good as any combination of offensive players in the nation. And Notre Dame is, that tough, physical, defensive team that, we expect them to be based on, like, their history. Like, I just think Notre Dame is really, really good. I think Marcus Freeman is getting his feet settled. And I think people are letting the Ohio State loss on paper, cloud them from the fact that Notre Dame has played amazing this year. Like, Ole Miss has been good, but I think Notre Dame has just been better. Like, I feel about them the way you feel about Oregon. Like, I think they are a legit title contender.
Oh, more impressive so far has been Notre Dame. I mean, Ole Miss got to beat Alabama. Like, I felt like they were never really threatening Alabama in that game, in my opinion. So when that happens, it still shows me Lane Kiffin's got a little ways to go, still has a ways to go, I should say, at Ole Miss to take Alabama. So it is Notre Dame. I mean, they in all honesty, should have beaten Ohio State.
Should have won that game.
It should not even have gone down to the last play there. So I think it has been Notre Dame, and I'm impressed by Marcus Freeman for sure. And you've got Sam Hartman. So that's another level of impressiveness. That
Sam Hartman is who JT Daniels is trying to become by staying in college so long. Like, he want to be Sam Hartman. Like, Sam Hartman is him at the college level. I'll give him that.
All right, so more impressive so far, Michael Penix Jr., my guy, or Cam Ward, quarterback, Washington State?
I hate this, man, because I don't want to talk bad about Michael Penix, man. But let's be real. Like, people thought he was going to be good this year. Like, I hear nobody talking about Cam Ward and Washington State before the season. Like, they've been balling out of control. Like, Cam Ward, I know Michael Penix has more passing yards, but he only has 3 more passing touchdowns than Cam Ward does. And Ward is getting it done on the ground. I think he has like 200-plus yards and 3 more touchdowns on the ground. And he's got Washington looking like, a top 12 team, like a legit one. Like, I mean, nobody expected that from Washington State. I don't know anybody that I talked to was like, yeah, Washington State, that sleeper team. Like, I got to be more impressed with Ward.
Yeah, well, you got to be impressed with both. It's not like
that's why I started, because I know Penix is your guy. I'm impressed with him.
It's not like who are you more surprised of? Obviously, the answer would be Cam Ward.
I think I'm just more impressed with Ward, man.
Well, I'm saying they're both impressive.
He's like, why did Cam Ward have to come out of nowhere to ruin my Michael Penix season?
I'll give it to Cam Ward for this reason right now, is that they beat Oregon State. As soon as Washington beats like a top 15 team, I'm going to say it's Michael Penix.
Do they play USC this year?
I don't know. Good question.
If they play USC and beat USC, like, Michael Penix will always be ahead of him in this conversation.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. But right now, I agree with you. It's Cam Ward. Part of it is because he came out of nowhere. But 2, Washington State looked really good. They dominated Oregon State. Like, they controlled that game. And that's what's impressive about Cam Ward.
All right. So you said it, with the MLB playoffs starting today. They're on right now. I hope my Marlins are winning when I get back downstairs. Shout out to the Rays. Hopefully they'll bounce back tomorrow. They got destroyed today by the Rangers. But we always say it. We always hold ourselves accountable. So we're going to go back and review our picks from the MLB preview show.
Who approved this? I didn't approve it.
Oh, man. So obviously the awards haven't been announced yet, but Don's going to be the one to say who won which pick. And we'll just go through these real quick. All right, MVPs. AL MVP, I picked Jose Ramirez from the Guardians, and you picked Shohei Ohtani. I think you definitely won that one because he's probably going to win it.
I don't know if he'll win it, but I think I had a better I had it most of the way.
Yeah, you had that one in the bag. NL MVP, I had Juan Soto for the Padres. You had Tatis for the Padres. who you giving the victory to?
That's a tie. Neither of us deserve it.
All right, Cy Youngs. I'm automatically out of this one. I had Jacob deGrom from the Rangers, and you had Emmanuel Clase from the Guardians. So deGrom's hurt, so I got to give it to you. You won that one. NL Cy Young, I had Spencer Strider. You had Zach Gallen. Who you giving it to?
I think I got to give it to me, no? Who's in the lead?
Strider's had a really good year, right?
I mean, I guess we could give it a tie.
All right. I mean, I think Strider's been a little bit more valuable and impressive. But, I mean, Gallen's no slouch. This was interesting. Players to watch. You clearly crushed this one. I had Yoshida for the Red Sox. You had the man, the myth, the legend himself, probably the rookie of the year. I think he's so far ahead. They closed the betting like 3 weeks ago. Gunnar Henderson for the Orioles, you had as the AL player to watch. So I congratulated you like a month into the season. I was like, congrats. I think you called you called this one correctly. NL player to watch. I had Graham Ashcraft, the pitcher for the Reds, and you had Ryan Papoy for the Dodgers.
I think he got hurt. I think he got hurt early, I believe. I guess we'll give that one to you because I think my guy got hurt early on.
My guy at least has some stats. Well, this is where we definitely messed up. But, I mean, I got to give this to you because both of yours are actually still in the playoffs. So, the World Series, I had the Padres versus the Blue Jays with the Padres winning it all. I will never pick them again. Don also had the Blue Jays, but he had them going against the Phillies, which I hope lose because, yeah.
Fake fan.
But no, never a fake fan. And you had the Blue Jays winning. So you won that one just because both your teams are in the playoffs.
Well, I will say this. Let's go back to the NL Cy Young, right? So I'm looking at like the
he's like, because I can't have a tie on there with him. I got to prove that I won.
Well, listen, I'm going back here. NL Cy Young poll. They did have Gallen at 3, Strider at 4. So I think it's legit that we have a tie there. I think it could go.
Try to prove
no, I'm not going to prove. I'm not going to do that to you. But what I will say is though that Phillies Jays, I'm liking it. Not going to lie.
Nah, man, Philly's going down, man.
I mean, I'm not a Phillies fan, and I can't stand them.
Sound like one right now.
But hey, we're being neutral. Then I'm going to make the right predictions. They don't call me the Don of Sports for no reason.
All right, so let's jump into the playoffs. All right, so let's go. What's one team that's going to surprise everyone during the playoffs?
I think it's the Blue Jays because they've been flying under the radar all year in the AL East behind the Rays and the Orioles. JT, they're the third best team in that division, but the Jays are a really good team. And then getting into the playoffs is scary. I'd be worried if I'm the other teams, especially with that home crowd. I think they'll surprise just because they're flying under the radar.
I like the Jays. I mean, they did get tuned up to 2 home runs by the same guy on 2 hits today. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I like that pick. I mean, I got to pick my guys. It's the Marlins. And the reason I'm picking them, obviously they're my team, but the Marlins, we are like the New York Giants of baseball. We don't make it or we win it all. So there's like no in between. Like Jazz Chisholm, Sandy Alcantara, they're healthy. I mean, they're superstars. And then we have the NL batting title champ, Arraez. So we have the talent to pull off one of these runs where we get into the playoffs and make it all the way. And like, I really like our young pitchers, Cabrera, Luzardo, Garrett, and Uri Perez. Like, that could end up being one of the, if not the best young pitching core in the league. So I think we have all the things in place if things break right that the Marlins could make the World Series. So I think they're going to be the team that surprises, but we have a tough matchup. Round 1, it's your team who you love. You want to see them make it. But, I mean, we always play them. So if anybody can beat them, it's us. Flip the script.
Okay.
One that will disappoint. One team that's going to disappoint.
Hey, what do I always say about young teams, JT?
They got to grow through their lumps and learn.
And what team
like an old ass dude on your porch.
What team fits that bill?
It's the Orioles.
The Orioles. There's the answer. I think they're going to disappoint because they've had such a great year. I mean, unbelievable. We talked about them on the last show. They have one of the best young rosters in the past decade, you know? Like we're comparing them to the Astros and some of those Braves teams that each of those guys won World Series. But for this team, because they are so young, I think they got to go through their lumps. They're going to face some really good teams in the American League. Astros, who've won a title, you know, and then you've got the Rays who have been there. The Jays have been in the playoffs. It's tough, man. So unfortunately, even though I would like to see them also have success, I think it is the Orioles.
I do agree with you, but I'm going to pick the other team. And I feel sorry because I had to see my wife in full-on depression for 3 hours today. It's the Rays. And I just think for them, it's just too much to overcome with injuries. Like they lost a Cy Young type talent in McClanahan at pitcher. He's not there. Wander Franco with his off-the-field stuff. And then they also lost, what's his name, the second baseman, Brandon Lowe. Like he's out too. So those are 3 guys that they were counting on to be difference makers in the playoffs for them, and they're not there. And then plus, like you said, like they have the Orioles, the Jays, and the Astros waiting for them if they get past the Rangers. So I just hate that path for them to get to the World Series, and they already started off bad today, and you can tell they missed the players they were counting on. They're out hurt. They're missing those guys already. So I will say them. Now, you got a second chance at redemption. World Series matchup prediction in the winners. So who are the two in and who takes it all now that we've seen what we've seen?
Bro, why do I have a redemption? I'm sticking. Hey, the Jays are going to come back. Yeah, the Jays are coming back against the Twins. I'm doubling down. Jays, Phillies, Jays win the World Series. Let's go.
You know what? I'm going bold. I'm going Marlins versus the Astros. The cheaters versus the kids. And I'm picking my Marlins to win it all because you know what? I got faith.
And cheaters never win. Remember that, kids. All right, so you're flipping it up. Well, I'm surprised you're going away from the Jays now. You saw that they lost today. Hey, Jays.
No. I'm just going away from the Jays because I just feel like the Astros are still good and people just don't want to give it to them.
They were good at the beginning of the season.
They still. I mean, their team is just still good. Like this year, like people just assume like, oh, they're gonna go away, but they still got studs.
Hey, my teams are still alive. Sorry, Marlins, but you guys are gonna go down. All right, so let's go to everyone's favorite segment. Forget about it or Fugazi. So if we're gonna read a statement. If we agree with it, we think it's a hot take, we're going to say forget about it. If we think it's a bad take, it's a fake take, like JT being a fake fan, he's a Fugazi Marlins fan, we're going to say Fugazi. All right, ready, JT? All right,
how much money do I have to spend on tickets and games to take you to? Yeah, you forgot how many times I took you to Marlins games. We had good seats.
When? I didn't go once with you.
That's not true.
That wasn't me.
I'm taking you to plenty of Marlins games.
No,
first baseline, third baseline. We sat behind home plate for a game before.
When? When was this?
What's the question, man?
I've never gone to a Marlins game.
What's the question? I'm not taking this.
Not that you took me to.
I took you. You just don't remember.
Oh my goodness!
What's the first question?
The first one: the Bears are tanking in broad daylight.
Forget about it. Like they've been tanking since last year for Caleb Williams when they traded away the #1 pick. Like, the game against the Broncos just confirmed it. Broad daylight, they're tanking.
I'm going to say Fugazi. Bro, it's called incompetence. Incompetence 101.
So you saying Matt Eberflus is lack of coaching talent in the NFL?
No, I said it's poor coaching.
That's what you're saying.
It's
exactly.
Poor coaching. Poor coaching, not lack of talent. Poor coaching. Next one.
I don't believe that.
Next one.
Shout out to Mike Powers. We always appreciate you coming in and watching the show, man. Just tell Don how incredibly wrong he is. Coaches just suck, man. Next one. The Blazers were right by not allowing Damian Lillard to come back or send him to Miami. So what happened is he didn't get to go to Miami, ended up in Milwaukee, and he also tried to go back and say, if I don't get to go to Miami, I would like to rescind my trade offer, to which the Blazers said, tough shit, get out of my face.
Too late. Go pound sand. Bro, forget about it. The Blazers have to do what is right for their organization. And when a player does this, and I'll always refer back to Dwight Howard, when you kill your own value as a player by going public or making a demand like this, then the team's got to do what's right for the team. Like in 25 years, no one's going to care how Portland treated Dame Lillard and vice versa, how loyal Dame Lillard was to the Blazers. No one's going to be upset with Dame in Milwaukee. I'm not. I'm sure Blazer fans aren't. But when you kill your value and say, I'm only going to Miami, well, guess what? You can't be upset when the team does what's right for them because you're trying to do what's right for you. And both sides are correct. You know, I understand why Dame did it, but then he can't be mad when the team does what's in their best interest.
Yeah, forget about it. He tried to bully his way out, and it didn't work. And the relationship with the Blazers was too damaged for him to come back and repair. Like, it just couldn't be done. That's like you telling your boss, promote me or I'll go get a new job somewhere else, and then you don't get the job at the new company. Like, what do you think is going to happen when you come back to your boss? Like, hey, the other job offer didn't work out. Can I still come back and get my old spot?
You ain't got no job.
Yeah, exactly. No, the Blazers did what they had to do and what was best for their team.
All right, so the drop tackle should be eliminated from football like the horse collar.
You want to explain what that is?
All right, so the drop tackle is – so I will say this. So there is I think there is a move trying to, push for the I guess it's the hip drop tackle in the NFL. Let me see if I can get an exact explanation.
While Webster is looking it up, it's basically when somebody goes to tackle you and they jump on you and put all their weight to bring you down and you snap your legs. I think it should be, because I think with the horse collar, I think the TO injury really kind of scared people. But the horse collar is not as dangerous as this, because the drop tackle is, you got guys that may be like twice your size doing this. Like, anytime I see somebody do this, like, these dudes are suffering career-ending injuries. Like, I can have a guy 350 pounds and I weigh 200 and he's jumping on me, pulling all his weight to shatter my legs. Like, that's ruining careers. Just look at this week alone. We had 2 possibly career-ending injuries in college football because of this tackle. Brew McCoy for Tennessee, and I forget the kid's name. I think it was West Virginia. He had that too. And I feel like we're seeing this more and more. We saw it on a Thursday night game. The Wisconsin running back guy, D-tackle, did the same thing. Tony Pollard, same thing happened to him last year. Like, I just think they need to get rid of that tackle, because it's so dangerous. Like, every time I see somebody do it, most times the result is horrific.
You know, this is a tough one, because sometimes it's difficult to bring a guy down, right? When someone's bigger than you like that.
Get your weight up.
I guess, but then, so I will say forget about it, but there needs to be a very clear, distinct definition of what the penalty is for.
They need to decide what the intent is to actually qualify as this type of tackle.
In a way, yes. So, like, it's easy with the horse collar. You get within the collar, you can see it. This one is, if a guy starts to do the hip drop tackle, but then pushes the guy forward or lets up or pushes him back the other way instead of all on his weight, then I think you got to swallow the flag. You got, you know what I mean? It's like swallow the whistle.
I feel like if they judge intent on how people hit quarterbacks, well, all the time, they're like, oh, they can see weight distribution and all that. Well, you can do the same thing for this.
Well, it's the same where, again, you know, the helmet to helmet hits, going low on a quarterback, you can have it in there, but be flexible with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you start to pull a guy down and let go, don't throw the flag. If he's holding a guy up and he happens to get hit and it happens to fall on his leg doing the hip drop tackle, I don't necessarily know if that should be a penalty, but it is about the intent. Just like if a D lineman gets blocked into the leg of a quarterback,
that's different though. Yeah, that's different.
But that's what I'm saying. They won't throw the flag for that, even though he is making contact with the lower leg.
It's the same thing with like a punter. If you get blocked into the punter, they won't call it. I'm not saying don't iron out the details, but I do think it should be eliminated.
At first, I was not on board, but I do think, listen, they have the helmet to helmet. They have targeting in college football. You can limit the scope of this specific tackle as well and make it a penalty.
They can find a rule for this tackle, because I don't know if you watched the Jets game. There was a play where Mahomes ran to the sideline and the DB flew to him and he could have destroyed him, and he just didn't touch him. He just ran past him. Like, that tells you how much guys know we can't hit these quarterbacks. The guy missed blowing up Mahomes and making a big play and just ran right by him. And I know it's because he didn't want to get a flag.
Especially when the guy's name is Patrick Mahomes. If that's Zach Wilson, maybe he pops him.
R.I.P. Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor would have ended his season. And that's that's the type of player I miss. Sean Taylor would have been like, forget about this damn flag. I'm killing Mahomes. Like, I'm going through him. All right, last one. Puka Nacua, Rams rookie wide receiver, is proof that Cooper Kupp is the greatest system wide receiver of all time.
Bro,
forget about it, or Fugazi.
This is Fugazi. Why you got to take a knock at Cooper Kupp? Like,
I keep seeing this everywhere. I've seen this everywhere for weeks.
Bro, you didn't have to bring it up. Like, he can't go play in any other system and be great. I don't understand it. That's Fugazi. Move on. Fugazi.
I think it's forget about it, man.
Of course.
And for 2 reasons.
You can't give Cooper Kupp any credit. You can't give Cooper Kupp any credit.
I will. He is a great receiver, but it's been proven that
that's disrespect right there. But
it's been proven that this specific role in Sean McVay's offense produces this type of result, because that role, I think, out of every position of receiver in the NFL on all systems, like, this particular role matches you up the least against DBs in the league. So like most of the times it's a linebacker or it's a really bad safety look. Like it's been proven. It's the same reason why when O'Connell went from the Rams to the Vikings, Justin Jefferson the first day was like, you know what? Damn, now I see why Cooper Kupp's always open. Because I'm running against linebackers. I'm running against safeties one-on-one where I should not be doing. And what do you know? Oh, lo and behold, Puka Nacua. Rookie, not a highly drafted rookie, talented kid, but what's he out there doing in the Cooper Kupp role? He's just smashing all the records, getting all the receptions, getting all the yards. And it's like, yes, it's the system. I'm sorry. This is equivalent to the Patriots back in the day. When you have that slot receiver role, you know you're going to guarantee 120 catches. Like sometimes systems just do that for players. And I think Puka Nacua is showing us he's just the next one up. And like maybe Cooper Kupp is a little bit of a product of the system. I'm not saying he's not talented. He could definitely play receiver in the NFL and be a starter, but would he be as good as he has been if he did not play for Sean McVay? I'm starting to doubt that, so I'm going to say forget about it.
So Puka Nacua, a rookie, so not taking anything away from him because he's been really good. But I got to defend Cooper Kupp here. You always have this phrase that, hey, someone in basketball got to score points on a bad team. Someone got to shoot the ball. Someone got to score 20 points on a bad team. So listen, who's the receiver opposite of Puka Nacua?
Tutu Atwell, Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee.
All right, so exactly my point. Someone got to eat in this game. It's Puka Nacua because he's good.
Because he's playing the Cooper Kupp role.
They throw in the
Cooper Kupp role. Honestly, if you go back and look at it, it's the same role that Shanahan used to have with those receivers, like when he was OC. Like Josh Gordon did it. Same concept. Julio Jones did it in Atlanta. Pierre Garçon did it in Washington. It's just that, but like a hyper role that McVay is like, all right, I know this has worked before. I'm gonna make it even worse.
You once told me about Chris Middleton. Someone has to score 20 points on that Bucks team. Well, guess what? He's still scoring 20 with Giannis, Drew Holiday, now Dame. He's still going to get his 18 to 20, and he's still an all-star. So you can say all you want, but the dudes are talented. Don't take anything away from them.
Disagree.
All right, so let's go to everyone's, well, maybe second favorite segment, weekend predictions. So we're going to go college football first. Here are the rankings so far. So JT's 7-5 overall. He's in first. Our college football expert, Coach Connor, or Coach C, as JT calls him, 6-6 in second. And then yours truly, the Dawn of Sports, off to a slow start at 4-8. So we're gonna go with
he's gonna keep stacking the schedule of games till he can get back in the league. Once he gets the lead, we're going to have like 2 games to pick a week. Watch.
All right. So first up, the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma versus Texas. Who you got?
Got to go with my preseason top 5 pick, going with the Sooners.
Yeah, I'm coming back. So Coach Connor, as well as myself, both have Texas. Because who had Texas in their preseason show? Giving them props. It was this guy.
You went out on such a limb. Who had Oklahoma? They were all the way back in the 20s, like nobody cared about them.
They're going to find out real quick what it's like. They're going to learn on Saturday. All right. So, next one, Maryland at Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Me too, as well as Coach Connor. So all 3 of us have Ohio State there. All right. Alabama at Texas A&M.
Bama. I think Texas A&M is broken. They lost their starting quarterback for the season, I think, to a foot injury. And I think Saban, he very rarely loses 2 embarrassing games in a row. So I think he sticks at the Jimbo.
So Coach Connor is going with you, Bama. I'm going the opposite. And this is where I could either take the lead at the end of this weekend, or I could be so far away it's not going to matter, and we'll stop doing weekend predictions. So A&M, I'm going A&M for 2 reasons. They're at home
to get back in the records. I get it. You're taking bold shots, but realistically, this is the game that could get.
They're at home, all right. And 2 years ago, they had the upset, and I think A&M is a sleeper type team at this point. They're better than what people are giving them credit for. if Miami's as good as you're saying, JT, that's not a bad loss by A&M going at Miami and losing. So I'm going A&M. All right, Kentucky at Georgia. Coach Connor goes Georgia. Who do you got?
Georgia.
Well, I'll tell you what. Again, this is where I'm either going to look like the Dawn of Sports or I'm going to be out of the rankings here. I'm going Kentucky. Something's going on with Kentucky. I think Georgia can be had. Georgia can be had. I'm not sold on Carson Beck when push comes to shove, and I think this is the game that tests Georgia. So I'm going Kentucky. Last one, Notre Dame at Louisville. Who you got? Coach Connor goes Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. He's not going Louisville, who he loves?
No, he's not. I think it was a hard one for him.
He ain't for real. He ain't for real then.
That was his sleeper team. That was his sleeper team. They're off to what, a 5-0 start? You know what, though? I believe in them. I'm going Louisville. I'm going ACC. I'm making up 3 games. I'm going 3 games here. I'm going to be right back in it come next week at this time.
This man's going to be down 4 games.
I'm already down 3. I might be down 6, or we're going to be tied. One of the two. All right, NFL games. So going into this weekend, the NFL games, here's the standings. King Ken, 7-2. Then JT and myself are in second, both at 6-3. So we're much better at the NFL.
That's why we have less games on this one because his record is closer. I see how this works.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I didn't get in King Ken's picks yet. So I'll get those after the show. We still have time for those. So the first one, JT, Jaguars at Bills.
Bills. Jags haven't shown me that they can go on the road and beat this kind of team.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo, even though this could be a letdown game for them, but I'm going to stick with Buffalo. Eagles at the Rams.
Hey man, let's get tricky, man. Rams. Something about them. It's a home game. They played much better than we've expected. That defense has played, really well. And the Eagles, they haven't looked like the Eagles, man. West Coast game. If the Eagles don't have their stuff together, Puka Nacua, a.k.a. the Cooper Kupp role, hey, he'll eat.
I was with you until that last comment. It is the Rams. This is that sort of game. You got to travel. What's it going to be, a 4:00 game? Philly's going to be all excited. National TV.
They're going to be in L.A.
And I think the Rams are better than they're better than what I thought they would be. And Philly hasn't shown me that they're the same team from last year. And these are the games where if you're not as good as you once were, these are the games you end up losing instead of winning. So I've got the Rams as well. Cowboys at 49ers.
I'm gonna show support to my Super Bowl pick as one of the teams that will get there. And I'm going with the Cowboys. I know the 49ers, everybody loves them, but Cowboys been low-key 1A, 1B in the NFC, and I think everybody's judging them off that Arizona game. They had their letdown game. They're still dominant, so I'm picking the Cowboys to win.
I'm going 49ers. Cowboys, this is the one team the Cowboys cannot beat. They will not beat, so I'm going 49ers. They're humming right now. Aren't they my Super Bowl team? Pretty sure.
I don't know. I picked the Cowboys and the Ravens to go, so I don't remember who yours were. Mine looking really good right now for the 3rd year in a row.
Well, listen, mine's looking great. I'm back on track. I'm going to take the lead in weekend predictions in the NFL off of you. I'll be tying King Ken depending on when.
This guy's record's close. We only have 3 NFL games, but we got 50 college football games because he's down so bad. You're like a bad gambler, just throwing bad money after bad money.
I'm going to catch up. That's the next thinking. Got to get the next one. All right, JT. Well, that wraps up the show. Great episode. A lot of fun. Thank you for all the fans and listeners out there. Remember, please subscribe to us, JT and the Dawn All Sports Podcast. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and whatever platform you find all of your other favorite podcasts. Remember, if you like what we do, leave us a 5-star review. And JT,
if you don't like what we do,
leave us a 5-star review. And remember to please follow us on social media. Our handle at JT and the Dawn. We can be found on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. So, JT, enjoy the week of baseball games. Enjoy the weekend of football games. Great show, man. And until the next episode, see ya.
Peace.